You talked about how the Brave Ones led to Notorious, but what's your favorite role that you've done?
My favorite role? Oh, that's a great question. Um, I mean, Notorious, D-Roc in the Biggie movie is probably one of my favorite roles because that was a role that I had a lot of different levels in it. Um,
How'd you get that role? How'd that happen?
Man, I'm going to my acting coach's class, just stopping by, checking it out, and the casting director just happened to be there. And I'm talking to her. Well, one of the casting directors, I've been hitting her up on MySpace back in the days. Y'all don't know about no MySpace. So I was, I wasn't like badgering her, but I would hit her every now and then. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I would love to audition for it. And I did something for the movie Honey, and R.I.P. Andre Harrell. He was produced at, and we was at the party. I'm like, yo, I would love to play you in the Biggie movie. He wasn't even involved in Biggie, his character, but I was just kind of putting that in the atmosphere. So I went to the acting class, and me and the casting director was talking, and we got into an argument. She was like, I seen your reel. I mean, it's cool, but you do a lot of gangster roles. I'm like, that's just what I get cast for, but I'm an actor. So I put it to the test. Well, try me, So she called me in, and I was nervous. Because it was a lot of actors there that I knew, and I went in and I did my best. And she came out and, I apologize, you got some skills. And I had like 6 callbacks. Like, it was screen tests, it was a lot. Chemistry reads, and my acting coach told me that Thursday, like, Dennis, I went in and your picture is on the wall, you booked it. Friday, they had me come in for another callback, and they didn't say anything to me. The director walked past me, didn't speak to me, and I'm just like, oh my God. So the whole weekend, nothing. And I'm like, man, and it's things works in mysterious ways. So the whole weekend, people are driving by my building playing Biggie music. I'm like, if I don't get this role, it's all pop. Nah, it's playing. But that Monday they called me, and I got it. And I actually fired my agent the next day, because my agent called me and said, oh, we're trying to get you an audition for Diddy in the Biggie movie. I'm like, what? I don't even look like Diddy, and I'm already got a role in it, So I fired them at that moment. But yeah, playing that role was really great. I was a big Biggie Smalls fan, and to be able to build and connect with his mother, R.I.P. Valletta, and his kids was honorable.
When you were going through the audition process, who were some of the faces that you saw in there that you were up against? Did you remember?
Some names I'm not gonna say, but there was a particular actor who was slated to have my role. But there was something different they wanted. And he's a great actor. I'm not gonna say his name, he's a great actor. And so they brought me in to kind of see what was up. And but Ron Brown, he was on To Save the Last Dance. So when I went to audition the first time, I saw him walk in and sign off. Oh my God, this dude is nice. I'm nervous, so I go in the bathroom trying to calm down. So I walked up and looked on the sheet, but he was auditioning for something else. So I'm like, woof. But it was a lot of names, a lot of people that wanted to be involved in that project.
When was the first time that you met D-Roc, and what was that like?
I met D-Roc a week before the premiere. I was at One Oak in New York, and he was with Puff. And Puff saw me and just bust out laughing and grabbed D-Roc and brought him over to me and was like, yo, D-Roc, this is Dennis, he playing you. And we just chopped it up, and I was like, I did you justice. And because during the time we were filming Notorious, he was incarcerated for the whole Little Kim, Foxy Brown shootout at Hot 97. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I had his transcripts, and Little C's, really was showing me a lot of stuff. I met his family members, so I was getting his essence in different ways, but I never had a chance to really talk to him until the week before the premiere.
I was gonna ask, how did you prepare for the role?
I prepared for that role with a lot of data. I had a homeboy that was incarcerated, so I went up to see him upstate and just sat with him. I went a couple times, just kind of get his essence from, especially before when D-Roc came home, I wanted to get his change of stature, his demeanor. I lived in Brooklyn at the time, so I would always go to his block, and just Lil C's really helped me out. Really helped me out a lot.
I was gonna ask, how did C's, Junior Mafia, and those guys, how did they help with preparing you?
Immediately they embraced me. Immediately. Like, it was no question, it was no vetting process. Junior Mafia, they embraced me and just told me stories. And there was a lot of folklore about D-Roc. People, security guards would tell me, yo, let me tell you about D-Roc. When he was in the tunnel, he pulled out like, it was all type of stories that people would feed me. And I met his cousins, and they talked to me a lot about him. And so, and to this day, I see his family members, and they come and embrace me.
What was one of your fondest memories of working on that film?
Seeing Miss Valletta on set every day. Her coming to set and seeing the culmination of her upbringing and for her son to be shown on screen. And for her to have input, for her to smile on certain scenes and really embrace all of us, and how witty she was, and how funny she was, and how beautiful she was. That was the highlight. And then also my mom coming to set and being able to meet Valletta and Angela Bassett at the same time, that was the highlight.
Yeah, so I didn't know she was there. She was pretty much there every day.
Every day. Only time she wasn't there is when we shot the murder scene in LA. She didn't fly to LA for that. But that's the only time she wasn't there.
How did you and Jamal Willard vibe on set?
So I met Gravy, Jamal Willard, before we started shooting. The casting director, Wendy McKenzie, assistant casting director, called me and was like, yo, Dennis, I want you to come with me to something. And I'm like, sure. So I met her at a place, and it was a baby shower for Jamal's daughter. And that's the first time I saw him. And I was like, oh my God, that's Biggie. That's him. And so we had such a bond on set, and we had to, and I think it permeated on screen. And so we had a great bond.
And the character that played C's.
Mark John Jeffries. He such a energetic person on set, such a professional. He was in Losing Isaiah. He had a track record before he came, and so we would meet him. His father would play ball during set while we filming. And, day off Sundays, we all be at the gym balling, and it was really a great ensemble cast. We all got close to that, but Mark John Jeffries was a great guy.
Was Puff on set a lot?
Not as much as you think he was. Well, Puff is really, he has the micromanager, managing image and everything, but he wasn't there all the time. He came through at certain times, especially when they were doing scenes with him dancing, when Luke, did his performances. A funny story about that, he called George Tillman, the director, at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing, Playboy? I need you to bring Luke to the studio. He was like, 3 o'clock in the morning. They went to the studio, and he said Puff just went to his whole movement and was just talking to them for hours. to get the essence. And so he was involved, but not enough to overshadow what was going on.
Outside of that, you have any other stories or memories from working on that film?
Just the scene in which Biggie was killed, the reenactment. It was such a crazy, because we shot it at the Peterson Automotive Gallery on the same spot. So to be there and to know that in film, when there's something of that magnitude, especially when it's a true event and you know that's on the schedule, the whole day is a reverence because we know we're getting to that scene. So it was very challenging. We all cried doing that. And I almost died on that day. So we had an extra who was supposed to sit in the car, like the driver. He wasn't supposed to drive off. So when I hop in the car, and we cut, he drives off. So I'm hanging out the car. I'm like, feet in the air, I'm holding on. And they wet the concrete to reflect the light. So we're fishtailing and I'm hanging, it was crazy. He got fired immediately. But that time was such a monumental time in the film and in our careers because we actually felt the brevity of it. Yeah.